Okay, so in the past, I have made two videos explaining what I think about the Red Pill community and the ideology itself. But I feel like in those videos, I was definitely being very biased. And not only that, but I feel like I generalized all of the Red Pill community and basically contradicted myself, because in those videos, I was explaining how I don't agree with generalizations, and yet I was doing that exact thing. So, I'll admit that I was definitely being biased and I wasn't being very objective, but at the same time, that doesn't mean that I just agree with everything that the Red Pill ideology represents. So hopefully this video can be a more objective video to really let you guys know where I stand on this. So the first thing that I want to address is the idea of women hypergamy. This is the idea that I simply can't agree with. And you know what? Let me put this into context for you guys real quick, just so that you don't think I'm being completely biased. I want to give you guys some context as to how I came to this conclusion. So, first of all, growing up, that was never an idea in my head. The idea of all women being hypergamous and only caring about, status and things of that nature, I just never was exposed to that idea. So, it wasn't even a thought in my mind. But at the same time, I had a lot of trouble with girls, and I didn't really understand why. I didn't start dating until I was 19. Okay, so like last year, late last year, like October last year. So you gotta understand that I don't have much experience with dating. But in those limited experiences dating girls, it was like 3 times. I dated 3 girls. None of those situations succeeded. None of them went the way that I envisioned in my head. And after the third one, after the last one failed, that one cut me really deep. I'll admit that that was like the first time I could say I got my heart broken. Now, throughout this time, one of my friends had become heavily invested into the Red Pill ideology because he himself had had trouble with girls. And I think he read a book called The Rational Male. I'm sure a lot of you guys probably know what that is, but I've never read the book. So basically, all of my Red Pill ideas came from him. The idea of women hypergamy came from him. All of that came from him. And like I said, I was going through heartbreak. And it seemed like no matter what I did, I was never good enough. I couldn't keep a girl interested. And I know that I'm good looking. I know that I have a good head on my shoulders. So I couldn't really identify the problem. So, of course, at that time, I wasn't mentally there or emotionally there. I felt like women hypergamy was the only way to explain my trouble with dating. There was no other way to justify it. I had dated 3 girls that were completely different from each other. None of them really had anything in common with each other, and they all failed in the exact same way. I ended up getting friend zoned. So, at the time, I felt like, okay, these women don't like me because I'm broke. I don't have a lot of money, which, at the time, like I said, it made sense. It made sense to me because I was vulnerable and I needed a way to justify it. I was trying to, divert the blame onto someone else. And I'm not saying that that's what you guys are doing, but that's what I did. That's what I was doing, and that's how I came to the conclusion that women were hypergamous. But after about 2 weeks of really believing in that ideal and basically becoming a part of, men going their own way, and that movement or that philosophy, I was able to kind of look at things a little more objectively. I was able to kind of see the bigger picture and see that none of the women in my life fit that mold. None of them. Like, all of the women that I knew, especially my sister. I think my sister was the main person that I saw that really kind of undid that wiring. Just seeing like the type of guys that she was going for. And, I'm not trying to like put her business out there like that, but that was just one of the examples of a girl going for somebody that had nothing to offer except the fact that the guy was themselves. And so seeing that, and also being exposed to the idea of law of attraction to a deeper degree, really kind of undid that wiring of, all women being hypergamous to me. Now, if you don't know what women hypergamy is, basically it is the idea that women are not capable of loving unconditionally in the same way that men are. And, they're going for somebody of a higher social status than them. Now, here's my thing with that. I feel like men say that, but then women say the same thing about men when it comes to men only caring about looks or sex. That right there is why I believe that it's not true. Because I believe you can't generalize a whole gender. You just can't. Because, for example, I'm a man and I don't think like other men when it comes to sex and looks. Yes, I do care about looks. I'm not even going to sit here and lie to y'all. I care about looks. But my views of beauty, physical beauty, are usually heavily influenced by the way a girl makes me feel. And that's something I've identified in myself. A lot of girls that I've talked to probably were not the best looking. And obviously, like I said, I do care about looks, so I didn't just date any girls that I didn't think were good looking. But the girls that I did date, at the time that I was dating them, I genuinely, in my mind and in my heart, believed that they were the most beautiful girls in the world at the time. So, just to put it into perspective, I feel like that's something that I've identified in myself, that I think emotionally instead of physically. I think more emotionally, which the stereotype is that men think physically and women think emotionally. Women care more about how a man makes her feel. But I feel like that's the way that I think. I think more about how a woman makes me feel. Now, here's my thing. I feel like I used to have a tendency to catch feelings extremely quickly. And a big part of the reason why is because I had never had a girlfriend before. And, I tried to tell myself that that didn't bother me, but it did. It bothered me. It bothered me that I never had that experience before, because it was an experience that I craved heavily, but I always wanted it to be from the right one. And I was willing to wait. But, last year, once I realized that I could actually get a girl, that I was good looking enough to get a girl, I began to settle for women who didn't really fit that mold. And I would catch feelings for girls that I knew in my heart were not what I was truly looking for. But it didn't matter to me because I just wanted a girlfriend. Now, the way that it would always play out every single time is that I would be talking to a girl, things would be going very well, and then I'd start to catch feelings, and all of a sudden, they'd either ghost me or just become really distant and then friend zone me and then ghost me. And, things would end up failing. It was always after I caught feelings that things would begin to fail. And I remember I tried to see this from a logical perspective in terms of, the way that women think. I tried to understand women. And that's why I bought into the red pill ideal. And like I said, I realized after a while that I wasn't approaching it in the right way. Trying to understand the nature of women is like trying to understand the nature of men. We're all different. Yeah, we have similarities, but we're all different people, and I can't be compared to any other man, and no other man can be compared to me. You can't really look at everyone in the same way because we're all different. So I decided to take things from a broad perspective, and instead of trying to understand the nature of women, I decided to try to understand the nature of life. And this is where the law of attraction comes in, because this right here is the conclusion that I came to as for why situations kept failing for me. Whenever I would catch feelings for a girl, my focus in life, my central focus, would shift from myself and YouTube to the girl. And that's where I would mess up, because once your central focus shifts to another person, at some point or another, you're going to develop a fear of losing that person. And this is why I believe that you should never make a woman or a man, if there's any women watching this, you should never make a significant other, or really just any person in general, the central focus of your life. Because if you do that, at some point or another, you'll develop this fear of losing them. And when you feed this fear subconsciously with all of these negative thoughts, and you always think about what's going to happen if you lose them, or all the reasons why you might lose them, then it's going to happen at some point. When you feed certain thoughts, positive or negative, the universe is unbiased. When you feed certain thoughts, those thoughts become your state of being subconsciously. It's all about the subconscious mind. I always say this, but the subconscious mind is the main part of your mind that's responsible for the actions that you take, and thus the habits that you develop, and thus the reality that you experience. So I realize now that the reason why situations always fail for me whenever I catch feelings is because I develop that fear of losing that person. And, my central focus shifts over. And I realize now that when I'm talking to a girl, there are basically two things that I can do. There's two paths that I can go down. One is to try to go to her, chase her, and once I catch her, then go back to the YouTube path, and go back to that grind. Or go after YouTube success and allow the girl to join me on my path. And notice I said join. There's no chasing involved. She's joining me on my journey and we're experiencing life together. That to me is the way that it's meant to be. That's how you develop a powerful relationship with somebody. So to me, that's definitely something that I agree with as far as the red pill ideology goes, is, you should never make a woman the central focus of your life because you're going to end up getting your feelings hurt. Now, bearing that in mind, I feel like there's a disconnect as far as the abundance mindset, the idea of the abundance mindset. I feel like a lot of guys in the red pill community, and honestly, I shouldn't say that. I need to stop generalizing. But I've seen some guys say that the best way to build leverage against a girl that you're talking to or trying to get at is to have other options. Just to have a lot of other options and have them compete for you, basically. See yourself as the prize. And I agree that you should see yourself as the prize, male or female. You're both the prize. You should both be the prize. But at the same time, I don't believe in the abundance mindset for myself personally. And the reason why is because I don't have the time nor the energy to entertain multiple women at a time. I just don't. I don't have the time nor the energy to do that. I barely have the time to entertain one girl. I'm very focused on what I'm trying to do here with YouTube and becoming successful on YouTube. And also another point that I want to mention is that in the past, whenever I made girls the central focus of my life as opposed to YouTube, what would end up happening is that I would become very anxious about the type of content that I was posting. Every time I was going to post a video, I'd basically wonder, is this video going to change this girl's perception of me? Is this going to be the video that ruins everything for me? And I shouldn't think like that because, I should be able to post whatever I want to post. And if she has a problem with it, then, cool, bye. This is what I'm doing. I'm here to help people. And like I said, at the end of the day, if you want to join me on my journey, then you'll do that. But I'm not going to change my content up just to appease you, because it's bigger than you. Life is bigger than you. It's bigger than me. It's bigger than any relationship we could develop. This is about changing thousands, millions of lives and getting to a bag. I can't let a girl or anyone else get in the way of that. Now, like I was saying, as far as the abundance mindset goes, I don't believe in that for myself. I don't believe in talking to multiple women because, like I said, I just don't have the time to do that. I don't have the time to be going out on dates with girls every day of the week. That's not the type of lifestyle that I want to live. I prefer to just do my own thing and chill and let the right one come to me. My leverage is the fact that I'm okay with being single. It took me a very long time to get to that point. It took me the better part of 20 years to get to that point. But I am now fine with being single. I'm perfectly fine with the idea of living on my own and, not being with a girl. I'm cool with that. That's okay to me because I enjoy my own company and I always have enjoyed my own company. But like I said, I let that pressure of trying to find a girlfriend get to me. And I lost sight of, my own company and the fact that I was spending all this time looking for a girl that reminded me of myself when I could just be enjoying my own company this whole time. So, I've learned to be single and enjoy being single, but I'm also not just going out and messing around with different women. If I'm dating somebody, if I'm seeing somebody, it's because I see potential in them to create a power couple with them. But, hopefully this video was able to give you some insight as to my views on Red Pill. Like I said, I wanted this to be as objective as possible. I just wanted to give you guys my raw, unfiltered opinion. You may agree, you may disagree. I really don't care. I just wanted to put it out there for anyone who wanted to know what I think about this.